Welcome to Hospitality Insights. My name is Sam-Erik Ruttmann, and this is the show where we are traveling around the world and get some valuable insights from leaders in the industry. So I'm very particularly proud that we have a chance to visit some friends in Dubai and also some friends in Bethlehem. But before we start, I'd like to invite you to write in your name and where you're viewing from. And I would like to know that what are your thoughts and questions you have for our incoming panelists. I think this will be very, very interesting to develop a interesting discussion. So just put the thumbs up if you like our show. If you want to have a question, just write into your comments, and I have some help from Malta Hotel and Restaurant Association to view some of the comments, and I will receive them on my WhatsApp application so I can read them and also ask the relevant questions. So I'd like to first of all thank our partners who are supporting us in this sessions that we are producing. It's the Winning online portal. It's winning.training is their website. Now, Winning portal is an online course portal that gives hospitality professionals and students the chance to learn more and improve their skills and update their skills in what's on and what's the latest going on in the hospitality industry. Also, our supporters are Malta Hotel and Restaurant Association, Visit Malta, and Ministry of Tourism and Mediterranean Tourism Foundation. So those are our partners. Now, what I like to do is now to have a brief introduction. We have two very prominent guests today. We have Hani Abu Dayyeh. He is chairman of the board of Betlehem University and also the president and founder of NetTravel. NetTravel is based in Bethlehem, so they are prominently promoting Bethlehem as the destination for faith travel. I also have a guest, our Kevork Deldelian. He's alumni from Bethlehem University, so all the Bethlehem University students, if you're watching, just give a thumbs up for Kevork. He's joining us. And now Kevork is he's the Chief Executive Officer of Tetra Hospitality Investments based in Dubai. So those are our guests today. And so first I will bring to our screen Kevork to start the discussion. Good morning, Kevork, and welcome. If you can unmute your microphone. Very good.
Thank you, Sam. It's great to be on the show. Thank you very much for hosting me.
Well, it's a pleasure to have you, and it's really a very special time that we have a chance to discuss. And in fact, it's timely, considering that we are into December and it's a Christmas period and a festive season time. So I think this is so prominent and a good time to meet up with you and meet up with Hani to have a discussion on this.
Thank you.
Now, you're based in Dubai, and Dubai has been in the forefront of developing tourism on many fronts, whether it's incentives or it's just holiday travel and so on. And you have been, how many years have you been in Dubai now?
Well, in Dubai, currently it's been just about 5 years. I used to work also in the UAE many years back, but within the region, I've been in the region lifetime. Worked in almost every single destination within GCC.
Very good. Now, can you help us to understand what is the general situation in the industry in Dubai at the moment?
Well, referring back to your comment earlier that the timing is right, we're coming into the festive season and the new year, and everybody's aspirationally looking forward towards a 2021 that brings with it a lot of hope and change. That statement actually, I would add to it that the timing we're talking about today is also ideal because I am somebody who's more optimistic myself and almost all my colleagues within the industry today than we were a month back. If we had this discussion a month back, I think we would have seen a lot of, I would have shared a lot of pessimism. 2 months before that, it was even worse. So simply what I'm trying to say here is that things are looking much better. And we have been seeing in Dubai specifically quite an extensive growth on ongoing growth. So since the airport opened in July, small steps but steady steps brought us today to a very decent level of occupancies. We're expecting to have a great year end. Hotels are seeing a lot of demand currently for the period of the new year. So we are actually very optimistic towards the first quarter of next year, something that we could not say a few weeks back.
Very good. That is exciting to see because many destinations have a very different scenario now. And what are the things that you see what are the growth areas do you see for 2021?
Well, I think the good news is that we're going to have a better year than we thought. And when we talk about Dubai specifically, Dubai has done quite a lot of work with the COVID from day one, and was able to present itself as a destination, as a safe destination to the rest of the world. Now, we all know that Dubai has a lot to offer, and Dubai has been always a great destination. But this time it added a lot of value over and above what it has to offer to the MICE market or to the individual traveler. It has safety being set big time and in the face. So we see heavier traffic actually expected to come in because of many other destinations not being ready and not being very much seen in the same context by travelers. I think Dubai is going to attract a lot of segments beyond what we were getting in the past. And we can see that online demand is lining up for the first quarter next year also. So hopefully we will see that happening. Also, Dubai is quite bold in its approach towards the MICE business and the events. So we have been seeing some of the international events that usually used to take place in Dubai. Now they are on and they are happening, and all kinds of safety measures are being set up and presented to the attendees. So it's living up to the promise this time, not only from the offering perspective and leisure perspective and entertainment perspective, but actually from the safety perspective.
Well, that's very good. Now, I remember from my years in Dubai that Dubai has always been bold. And I think one of the things that they have done very well, that they really have a concentrated marketing department. Some countries have Ministry of Tourism, but they have this, their government department that has been very active in promoting Dubai and also very innovative in how they are promoting. What are the maybe tips you can give if you're looking at some other destination? What could they do better, considering that if they are in lockdown? I mean, lockdown is obviously a current situation for them, but I mean, looking ahead in the future, what could they do differently, and what they can learn from Dubai, what Dubai has done very well for themselves in order to promote the destination?
Well, I'm sure that there are other destinations that have done a lot of effort in terms of containing the pandemic and making themselves within their own destination safe. I think one thing that Dubai does right is that Dubai rings its own bell. So I think the marketing, referring to what you were saying, the marketing approach is great. So if there are destinations that they can present a similar success story of safety and being able to handle difficult situations similar to the COVID, I think they should speak about it loud. Otherwise, nobody would really know. Now, talking about Dubai here within the pandemic, we have seen quite similar to every single other destination. Hospitality was one of the worst hit segments. And one of the features here in Dubai, I would say, which is great, is what our properties and hotels are set up to offer when it comes to food and beverage offerings and when it comes to the mixed-use facilities. I say that because, you see, our hotels during the pandemic, from day one, the hotels that were designed to have the mixed-use facilities, such as apartments and long-stay markets, they survived far better than hotels that stand alone with only hotel rooms. When we we started opening up the market locally here, the F&B offering, which Dubai is very famous for, actually helped sustain the expenses and the costs and pay for some of the expenses of our operating hotels in Dubai. So with those two components, even if the rooms did not climb up to the desired level of occupancy, we were able to sustain ourselves and to try to cover our expenses. And wherever there was any damage, the damage was contained and a little bit less. So simply what I'm saying, while even in Dubai, some developers need to look at this aspect when they are developing hotels in the future. I think all destinations need to take that into consideration. When the city is locked down, we survive with our own efforts, with our own population. And that population needs long-term stay service apartment products that they will not check out from under the pandemic. Actually, they will be locked into those. And F&B. F&B is a massive and serious business that sustains any city in such a lockdown situation when their own people can actually still customize those restaurants and support investors.
Yeah, very good. I mean, we talked, you mentioned about the food and beverage and the restaurant and dining, and there has been a trend, in fact, that some hotels are outsourcing. They just want to collect rent for the facility. Do you think that is a good idea, or do you think that the hotel should take leadership in running the restaurants themselves? What is your view on this? Because there are different ways of doing it.
Yeah. Well, I think over the past years, past 15 years, there has been a new trend where owners of assets were opting to lease out their spaces within their hotels to a third-party operator. Very much valid reasoning. Their existing brand operators were not delivering to the owners a return on the square footage of those spaces as aspirationally expected. Now, that trend took a while, and we have seen a lot of big success stories. Some of those tenants came with great experience in F&B. They are F&B operators, very highly qualified and highly professional in that market, and they knew what they were doing. So we have seen some very serious successes with it. Now, with the COVID situation coming back and blowing in everybody's face, and with the success of F&B right after reopening, we can see that all that cash is going to the tenants and not to the landlords anymore. Now, this is bringing new emotions about this concept into the market. And talking to a lot of developers, it seems like now developers are questioning, so why can't our operators do this? And why can't our operators run our space? Why should we lease it if we can triple our returns by actually operating it at the same level and the same professional standards? F&B is key for any hotel. Your room business comes locally by two people who book you from the local market. And people who book you from the local market, decision makers, do not use your rooms, they use your facilities. So if they love your F&B, your hotel stands very positively. I've been in this business for the past 35 years. I'm an F&B man in my career path, and I have seen a lot of contracts being signed because I delivered at the table a great experience. So I think this trend of leasing out space should be reapproached, readdressed with the operators, between the owner and the operator, and to revisit the facts and to see if the operators can actually take those back and deliver to the owners, or eventually operators to admit to the fact that they run hotels and they are good at running hotels, but not F&B. So I really believe that that a third-party management setup of F&B services is now the way forward. Owners will talk to such operators rather than leasing their space to a third party and taking all the risks that brings along.
But also it means that the operators will need to look at their restaurant concepts that they have done, which has not been successful, and it's not enough to do the steakhouse and all-day dining. They have to be more innovative and look at what brands are there, what are the things that the customers are looking for, what are something that will create a reason to go to that hotel and enjoy. I understand that you are involved in bringing in some new brands into Dubai. Anything you can you lift the lid, or is it all secret still?
No, well, many of those concepts and brands are still to be finalized and signed off. But yes, as you said, I've been heavily engaged in sourcing some of those international brands concepts from major F&B cities such as London and New York and Vegas and Singapore. So from a developer perspective and hotel owner perspective, I see them coming in with quite a totally different approach to the business, totally different level of experience than the operators who operate the hotels that I've been involved in. I've been an operator myself until the past also a couple of months, as I used to be the CEO of Millennium Middle East and Africa. And I was operating 46 hotels within the region. And as an operator, at that point in time, I spoke to my owners and I look at space and I decide if I can run that show better, then I would stand up and not let the owner lease that space because I can deliver to his bottom line a better performance. But when I knew one of those fantastic international brands would fit the location, the demography, and has the right concept for the market, and they will do better for the best interest of the owner, then we'll let go and we will go with that. So you are right. I think operators should revisit the way they do their F&B going forward. Either team up with some of those great F&B operators in the world and share with them some of the fees that they take from owners, or just let it be and let the owners approach those international brands and have them in their hotels. Yeah. But this is becoming a serious topic between owners and operators and it was over the past 5 years.
Well, I think that we have to understand there's nothing going back to the old normal. The new normal is not the old normal, how things used to be. And I think the operators will have to really pull up their socks and really look seriously what can they do better and what are the customers expecting from now. What are the things that have shifted? Because there's a shift without the pandemic is only one side of it, but we should look at more future, more years ahead, 5 years ahead. What are the things that we need to consider when we plan our operation from now on, and also how to address the needs of the generation that is now on the young adults who will start to have money and they want to do something differently. So the way the products and the services that how it's been done until now is not enough, and it's not only about having the cleanest room. You have to do more than that, isn't it?
Well, I agree, Sam-Erik. Actually, that's based on a few very key important points here. The situation between owner and operator is changing. It's not only because of COVID. COVID is just hit us on the peak of it. But in this part of the world and many destinations, we have been seeing a serious decline in owner return. Dubai here, for example, or even the whole region here, 2015 to 2019 has been a continuous, consistent drop in terms of profitability of hotels. I think that was already erupting, and that was making a lot of owners a bit more conscious about their relationship with their operators and what they are expecting from the operators. Now it's actually coming head to head. We will see some very serious changes in the region. We are going to see a lot of unfortunate disputes between owners and operators. It is in the air now, very loud. Owners are expecting their operators to review their terms and conditions and their fee structures. Owners are now looking seriously at operating their own hotels, so they are pushing some of the operators to give up on the management agreement and turn them into franchise. Some owners are looking at running a white flag themselves. And saying that, actually, maybe another thing that is very important to touch base when you say new norms in the Middle East. Uh, I think this is time for third-party management setup that has been always around in North America and in Europe and in many other locations in the world, where those established operators, highly qualified operators, run the show on behalf of an owner for a franchise property or a white label. I think that is coming big time. And talking to some of the international brands, my colleagues, I see some also reality thinking with them, and I hear them sharing the kind of thought of accepting the fact that they will have to make changes and they might have to give up some of the management agreements as franchise, but they also rightfully need to know that that owner can operate the brand correctly. So these are big changes. These are changes that are going to change quite a lot the map of the industry in this part of the world over the coming 5 years.
Well, I mean, according to the statistics, I have seen that until now, almost 75% of hotels are on management agreement, and the brands were saying, well, if you want to have if you want us use our brand because we are very protective of our brand, it has to be a management agreement. But I also noticed that there's a shift in the sense that the upscale or budget upscale and upper upscale brands are willing, they're possible to get a franchise agreement, but then on the luxury level, they are very protective of their
Not
brands,
yet.
and that's where they're not. But the model you're talking about is very much prominent in the Nordic countries, where we really don't have any management agreement. It's usually the third party which works, but the challenge is for us to also to lure some of the top international brands to come and willing to franchise them, for instance, and then have a very professional third party to do the lease agreement with the landowner.
Well, I think it might be a bit easier here to be done over the coming 2 years because the clash is big. Owners are expecting a serious lapse in the fee structure of the hotel. Operators will find themselves charging for an operated hotel equal, if not less, than a franchise fee.
Yes.
And as you know, you have been an operator yourself. Running a company and managing as an operator comes at a very hefty cost to the operator. So we have some serious structures, some serious top-notch professionals who are very highly paid to overlook those hotels. So as operators, I think operators will face a situation that they cannot anymore sustain those kind of expenses with lower fees. But the owners are coming very strongly and are going to be very adamant about reducing the fees. So it looks like a medium is possible to happen, and we're going to see that over the coming months and few years in this part of the world.
Very good. Well, we have a lot of viewers from Bethlehem University who are saying hello, and I was posting many of the greetings. There is one comment from George Rishmavi. Very important topic. Tourism was the first sector to be affected by the pandemic and will be the last to recover. That's what he says. We have a question from Mahdi Klebo. And if I may pop a question here, the question is, what ways or methods suggested in terms of bridging virtual, digitalized work experience, transfer of best knowledge and expertise as likely the situation will remain for the same time? I think what he's referring to, how to bridge the virtual with virtual into the scenario here. I think he wants to know that the virtual, now many of the companies are probably have been used to the face-to-face meetings, and now it's become the virtual. Now, what are the things that you see are maybe changes from your customer point of view? Are you be seeing less meetings, or will there be a lot of large Zoom events, or how do you see it?
Well, I think the tool and the technology helped us through the COVID period when we did not have a choice. And we were able to very successfully use those tools and get going and not affect much the business. But these cannot be the tools to stay for good and dump the good old ways. That is not, I think, going to be the case. I'll give you an example. If I'm trying to negotiate a contract with an owner, I don't think I will do a great job over Zoom than I'm going to do when I have that hopefully very soon handshake, warm handshake, that emotional impact of a human talking to a human. So simply, I don't see that we're going to give up on our earlier style of operating. I think we will just become more efficient. I used to see some of my owners just a few times in a year due to the nature of the work and the flights and all that. Maybe now I can still keep those numbers of visits, physical visits, but maybe add to them a few more that happen through the online digital and virtual platforms, which would enhance the relationship, which will make us a little bit closer. And
Yeah.
the same with our clients, they will still have to come to the hotels. You know, in Dubai, one of the things we have been witnessing now, and we're going to see it, of course, in every single destination. The moment the destination opens up, our restaurants are full. Actually, our restaurant operators are begging for a little bit less constraints on social distancing because demand is unbelievable. So this tells us that and presents very strongly that humans love their habits and humans fall back to their old habits. So, and they are not bad habits all the time. You know, habits is always labeled as a bad thing. It's not. So we have great positive and good habits too. And I think we will capitalize on them over the coming future also. It's not, the new norms is not writing off the old ones. So
Yeah.
I disagree with that.
I want to move over now to some of the things that are not always talked about. It's basically the loss of talent in the industry, and what is the not only the ones who are has been furloughed, where people are now start to look at what does furlough actually mean, and then or have just simply lost their jobs, but then also since we have students here from the Bethlehem University and from other colleges that what are the what should the hotel schools do differently now to address the shift that we are going through? Should they look at the curriculum a new way? And how can we inspire the potential hospitality leadership who may move to another industry because they say, well, I'm not sure if this is for me. What should they do?
Actually, Sam-Erik, it's a very critical point to raise. Most of whatever is being touched in the media on is related to losses and occupancy being low and what are operators doing and how owners are going to survive. These are all valid points and definitely we need to think about them. But also the human element, which is a backbone of the hospitality industry, is something that I believe is not being addressed as much as it should be. So when I talk as an operator and I look at the changes we had to bring into our hotels, and not only because of COVID, but because of the massive changes in the industry over the past 5 years in terms of our returns and the reset that took place when it comes to rates and all that. We had to make changes, and we brought a lot of changes. And some of those changes are driven by changes in the way our staff are delivering their services or their tasks. And in many cases, our tasks were kind of blended into one job. So the qualification of the individual today in one of the properties I was overlooking extends to him actually handling a task list of a telephone operator, a receptionist, and a reservation agent at the same time, because that's what that property could afford to do. Now, when we look at that individual today, that individual is very precious. But again, for him to be in that precious situation, two people lost their jobs. Now, the loss of the talent in this situation of the COVID was worse than ever. We always, unfortunately, had that problem of losing talent or talent moving from one organization to another. But this time it was a bit different. People were laid off, and the layoff brought a big question mark. Now, some of them are waiting and watching what's going to happen. When am I going to find a job? But I think the question shouldn't be that anymore. I think the future talent should reconsider and should understand what is the future pipeline going to look like when it comes to hotels being operated by operators. So they need to know how we as operators intend to operate our hotels, so they know what kind of talent we are actually seeking. This is when you're an individual who's already in the industry over the past years and you are seeking career. You might actually find out that a GM role is no more as abundant as it used to be. Some operators are canceling that position totally from their properties that are less than a certain number of keys. Now, aspirationally, for somebody who's a number two waiting in his organization to become a GM, he just lost half the inventory of the hotels that he had chances with. So he has to seriously think, what is he going to do with his career? Now, this same discussion should take place with universities. Universities with their curriculums today should readdress those curriculums, and they should come in touch with operators to understand the future and to understand the pool of talent operators are going to be looking for, and the level of skill we expect people to come out of their education with, so that the universities can adjust accordingly and provide the market with the correct level and the correct kind of graduate who is going to have an opportunity to grow within the industry for the future. So it's a very big question, actually, and I've been addressed by many of my colleagues, people I work with who are in the industry, and in some cases, in brainstorming with them, we realize that time to make a shift, time to walk away from this industry for that individual, because for that individual, obviously, the career aspirational growth is already or was closed. So people have to become realistic. Now, on the painful side of it, it's very painful to see all those people leaving. Also, we don't really just be concerned about the time and effort and money invested in developing people and training them. There is an emotional and human factor involved in there, where you engage with them all the time, and you are very much concerned not about them losing a job, but you're concerned about their families, you're concerned about how things will go on from there onwards with their future. So COVID, I think, had a big toll on many people within the industry on the emotional factor, not only on the side of them actually losing the job, but far, far beyond and deeper than that.
Yeah, very good. Just a few comments we have. Issa Dahdal says, hospitality has always been a service-oriented industry and depends on the skilled labor. That's what he said. And then we have Mahdi Kleibo. He said, Bethlehem University upgraded courses using virtual learning, influenced the infrastructure and training of staff member and students utilizing information communication technology, ICT, in teaching and learning. So those are just a couple of comments. So they are really take it to heart your comments.
Well, virtual learning is going to be more and more viable. When we talk about third-party management companies, that's basically the platforms they are going to use to reach out to the people. They will no more hire those gurus sitting and writing programs at the head office and rolling them out and flying on planes. So I think we should embrace this. It's going to happen. It is what's happening, and we should embrace it. On the human element in the hospitality industry, well, I tell you, I've seen a lot of things change from what I personally wish not to change. The glorified travel concept disappeared, and we are now going on buses instead of considering them glorified beautiful flights and planes. We consider them buses. I hope industry does not go that way. I've seen the robots in the industry. We had some in our hotels. I engaged as a client with the robot delivering my towel to the room. And I tell you, I hate it. I don't like it. I don't think it will work. And I hope I never witness that we run a hotel without that human element, because then that's not a hotel anymore, you know. A hotel is a building with rooms, and that building with rooms can be a hospital, can be anything. For it to be a hotel, needs just a human element with a big heart. Then it becomes a hotel. Take that out, I don't know what the industry will become. So yeah. I hope that never happens.
Yeah. Well, the service is the human part, and the service is the glue that holds the building together. Without that glue, there's no hotel, right?
Correct. Agreed. Absolutely.
Kevork, thank you very much. We have so many things we need to talk about, and please stay on, and we will continue with you towards the end here. I have so many comments and questions. They are lot of people engage in our discussion. So, but I like to bring next our second guest, Hani Abu Dayyeh, who is going to be talking about Bethlehem. So let's get him online here. Hello, Hani. Welcome.
How are you? And hello to all the audience that are attending. And some of them are our students. So I'm proud that they are online following with what's going on.
Yes. And for the viewers who are not fully familiar with Hani, he's the president of NETOURS and also internationally recognized leader in the Palestinian tourism industry. And also he's the chairman of the board of Bethlehem University Tourism Institute. And I know you're an authority on how the situation is in Bethlehem at the moment. So could you help us to understand and give us a general overview of the industry in the Bethlehem region?
Well, since the Oslo Agreement, there was a tremendous growth in the hotels being built up and developed in the Bethlehem region, and there was a lot of enthusiasm as the sea tourism has been increasing systematically over the past 5 years, and people have invested a lot of money in the tourism industry. And this now with the COVID, all these investments and all of this human as well as the physical investment came to a complete standstill. So the industry and how it is really now at zero level. But the problem with here that I see is Bethlehem is very heavily dependent on tourism. 65% of the income of the Bethlehem region is dependent on tourism. 30% of the employment in the Bethlehem area, direct and indirect employment, is based on tourism. So when you have a zero amount of income generated from tourism or zero income in tourism, we have issues. We have, like Kevork said, we have the human issues that we have to worry about. Families are dependent on tourism. And we hope that this whole thing will come to a very fast stop, and we can see some resemblance of tourism coming back to Bethlehem. I really feel very concerned about our community here and the loss of talent. My opinion here is where me and Kevork, when we spoke about training, I really look forward, being in the Bethlehem University Tourism Institute, is to look at, frankly speaking, a renaissance person in the field of tourism, because I don't think there'll be any loss of jobs when the business comes back. But people move from one building or from one hotel to another, and there's a gap for a time. So can I use the person who is very highly qualified or doing a job in here? Can he fill that gap for a while? I don't think there'll be any loss, frankly speaking, and I don't believe in the technology. Like you said, some machine delivering. It's a people's business. Tourism is a people's business and will always be a people's business. And so I'm not really sure that all that technology, and I saw on some videos about Japan trying to do a robot to welcome the people. That to me is frankly speaking, is ridiculous and unacceptable, because we are social human beings, not only human beings, but we are social human beings, and we have to link. And I agree with him. We have to look the client straight in the eye, serve him with love and professionalism. And I hope that never changes. I don't look for these days.
I think that's very good points. Could you help us to understand how has tourism helped the Bethlehem region in the past, and the main reason for the visit to Bethlehem?
Well, the one thing that we're mostly in faith-based tourism, and if you take a look at the history, Christ was a pilgrim, Moses was a pilgrim, Prophet Muhammad himself on his night journey is a pilgrim. So the faith-based tourism is very much part of the heritage of this land and has been around for thousands of years, literally thousands of years. I don't expect, I'm like Kevork, I'm very positive about this. I don't expect that to disappear permanently. The one that maintained us over the thousands of years will be in the future. The question is, when do we expect it to start coming back? It's not whether it'll come back or not. And so I'm on the very optimistic side. And, we at Betlehem University are preparing ourselves to make sure that we have the right talent to be able to serve our pilgrims in the right way. And to me, there's no hesitation about moving forward.
Well, could you share with the viewers now about what is the future like for 2021 and possible post-pandemic and tourism revival? You mentioned that the faith tourism is a long history and it for sure will be back. But in order to inspire and keep Bethlehem in people's mind, what are the thoughts you have that could emphasize this reason to come to Bethlehem?
Well, my opinion right now, with the vaccination being allowed, I think we can see the light at the end of the tunnel. My opinion is, as of summer and the fall, we can see a return of tourism back to Bethlehem. I mean, we should also be thinking positively. There is a time right now that we have to reflect on the way we have been dealing with tourism in Bethlehem area. Is there a better way of doing it to make sure that it generates better income for our people? It gives a higher level of employment to our people. These are the times, instead of being very busy just moving people around and serving them, I think it's time for us to reflect on the quality of what we give. And my opinion here at Betlehem University is going to have to play a very important role in cooperation with the Ministry of Tourism and the other concerned bodies to be able to lift the standard of service at the best level we can, and I think we can. So the future is, frankly speaking, as a return, that we have to begin to prepare ourselves to quality more than numbers, and hopefully numbers will come as a result also. We are, of course, don't have control over our borders, so we have to rely also on the Israeli side in the number of clients that do come over. But in my opinion, there is a joint interest here that I think Israel also wants the tourism to return back. So I don't really see that one as being that they're taking a negative position on this issue. They will be concerned that we also develop our tourism industry so it complements the Holy Land tourism product.
Yeah, I mean, I've been following certain countries are doing. Just example from Finland is that there was one Lake District destination that made an arrangement with a Japanese tour operator to sell virtual experiences online, because for the Japanese, they will enjoy like the Christmas myth that we have here, and so
talking about Benaimi.
Yes, so they were able to see it on like a pay-per-view experience, and then they were taken to a shop and they can choose maybe some Christmas-related goods which they could buy online at the same time, and they will sell to the country. So what people are trying to do is to use a virtual experience to, in one way, reach the customer, at least for time being, until it's possible to travel. Is there something that the Bethlehem could pick up on that? And I know that you have a webcam. I visited the webcam on Mango Square and I really enjoyed it, but I was hoping that could be something more
Yes.
like Amazon has a virtual experience page that the people can buy a product, or they can make a guided tour of a place. And I think Bethlehem would be perfect for this.
Well, I can assure you that we are doing something about this. We have a project called Betlehem Reborn. And in this project, the Betlehem Reborn, we have looked at the final outcome of the renovations of the Church of Nativity, and we're using it as a launching pad to a much more intensive exhibition that we'd like to take around the world. Now we are in negotiation with the Bible Museum in Washington, D.C. to move this exhibition to them. And with the exhibition comes, of course, the souvenirs, the various experiences that you can bring about the cultural dimensions of Bethlehem, you can bring it on. And also, right now, I'm almost having a weekly Zoom meetings with various people to think of moving this exhibition in the various countries or cities that have contributed to the way we celebrate Christmas today. I can tell you, for instance, that in Finland, your country, it's the home of Santa Claus in Rovaniemi, and I met with them at one time to try to bring about a common base or interest about celebrating Christmas, creating a network for Christmas. Then you have the Italy with St. Francis, who did the first creche scene, and that's also another important contribution towards the Christmas, the way we celebrate it. We have the Christmas tree, from Germany, so Germany has this very strong contribution to the idea of the way we celebrate Christmas. Then you've got Holland, Santa Claus. It came from my village here. St. Nicholas became Santa Claus in Amsterdam, and when they established a new Amsterdam with the new immigrants in New York, became Santa Claus. So there's a complete circle over there from us to the rest of the world. And the last is the Christmas market, which was first established in Vienna in 1392. And so we're trying to move this exhibition to these destinations, and we're now negotiating to how do we do it effectively and bring about not only the panels that show the most up-to-date things we found at the Church of Nativity, but also the culture, including the food, hopefully the wines, all the elements of the culture around Bethlehem that we can also showcase in these exhibitions. So yes, we are in it, and our first of all, we opened it the first time. We did it in Italy already. When everybody said we couldn't do it, we did it and opened it up in Italy in August. And we looked at it; it was successful, and people came. I was surprised that even with COVID, people actually came to attend it. It was in Rimini, and it stayed there for a week. And the numbers that I witnessed or I saw. And they had also a very strong online presence. So obviously, like I said, if you cannot come to Bethlehem, we can bring Bethlehem to you, and that is a very strong marketing element for the future for Bethlehem.
Absolutely.
So yes, we are very much doing this.
Very good. Well, thank you very much for all these words, and I think it's very inspiring that you're thinking along the lines of about the Betlehem Reborn. It's very exciting project, and also to bring the message of hope in the future. We have lots of comments coming in, and they all are enjoying your kind comments. And we talked a little bit about technology. We just touched on that. So what I like to do is to bring now everyone, both Kevork and yourself, to the same screen, and we can then continue the discussion here. And here we have Kevork and Hani on both my side. And let me take a look at, I think one thing was a question I like to raise, because it was earlier with Kevork, how to inspire a younger generation to join the industry. Maybe Kevork and Hani, maybe Kevork, could you start with your comment on this, and then after that, Hani.
Good. Actually, what inspired me and others when we were the young generation is very much the same, not much change. the glorified image of the hospitality industry, the passion to engage with people, and the opportunity to be able to be exposed to different cultures. All these are a few of the driver points that drive individuals into this industry passionately. Now, we all know, I've been involved, luckily to me, for many years in this industry, and I've seen both ends of the talent. I've seen the talent that comes with that big, strong passion that is actually born in the individual. The individual is said to be a great hotelier. And there's the one that just embarks on the industry, and he just wanted to go to hotel school and start his career. Now, I think it's very important at an early stage to identify those individuals, and early stage is different things. If we talk about school level, before they go into university, that's a point where I think we need to get the people engaged into the hospitality industry, show them what the hotel is about, make them walk around a premises. It makes all the difference in the world to that one who has a passion built into him that is going to be suddenly falling in love. Now, there's the one that we hire, somebody who never went to a hotel school, but he just came into the industry. I think very important for us as leaders to be honest to those people and look them in the eye and tell them if they fit in this industry or they are going to waste their time. It's an industry that needs people with a big heart. So you have to look for that. Inspiring people just from the perspective of convincing them to come into it is one thing. Having them come into it because they are passionately involved and they want to be part of it is totally different thing. So I think it's just we have to look for the talent, we have to look for the raw material, identify it, and then they will get it through. I'm a graduate of Betlehem University, and in my first year in the university, actually my first day, the dean told me what I'm going to be doing when I graduate, and the man said, if today you decide to go home, I will pay you your fees back. So you have to think, go home and think. And the man said, you are going to come out of here either washing pots or carrying luggage. Now, that is a reality. That's what I've done. I did wash pots and I carried luggage. But if you have the right heart for it, it doesn't stop there. You just keep on going and you grow, and people will see you objectives in life and they will drive you. So talent is the responsibility is on us rather than on inspiring them. I don't want to inspire them. I want to find them. I want to look for that talent.
Yeah, I mean, I started my career also in the doing things which were sort of the basic positions in the hotel, and I appreciated that I could do that because it also helped me to understand the work involved and also the passion the understanding what they are going through, and also be empathize about the work, and also help them to make their work easier, not just telling them from the top that do this, do that without understanding. So this helped me a lot to understand the involvement of this. But let's, Hani, what are your thoughts on this?
First of all, I'd like to say something. The sense of hospitality is part of our culture. And if you take a look at the religious, the Quran, the Old Testament, there are 76 scriptures relating to the issue of hospitality. So we're talking about the faith-based tourism. The hospitality is very much at the heart of the faith, of the three monotheistic faiths. So these two things, the idea of sense of hospitality and the idea of the religious push to be hospitable to the foreigner, to the pilgrim, as they come into the land, is a very strong incentive, in my opinion, to produce. Well, what we did, I worked with Kevork. We brought Kevork twice. One time to meet with high school graduates coming from the hotel. We have a hotel program. When you finish high school, there's a hotel program, توجيه سياحة, tourism توجيه, to speak to them and to those young people who might be interested because they already went into high school and finished this program. And then we brought again, we are, believe me, we're working Kevork hard. We brought Kevork again to speak to the actual students who are learning at Betlehem University the issue of hospitality. And what you heard is what he told them essentially. What we're trying to do here at Betlehem University is that we're building a 95-room training hotel. And, you know, like I said, Kevork is with me on the board. And the people who are going to serve, essentially, they're going to have to wash the pots, they have to carry the luggage, are going to be the students themselves. So they know every aspect of what is involved. So by the time they get to Kevork can rely that they have been through the whole phase. And then he looks at their personality, if they fit or not. You know, also the personality plays a very strong role, like Kevork said. Is he a person who smiles? And, you know, I have some people who are, you know, extremely intelligent, but do they have emotional intelligence? These are very critical things that I think somebody like Kevork will be looking for. I think we can try to mull them out as they come to us, you know, as a university, at the university, but still they have to be fine-tuned further. And this is our job, in my opinion, to prepare them ourselves.
Yeah.
With the help, the professional.
Yeah. I run across this because people ask me, what is the difference between service and hospitality? And I say, service is just what you provide somebody, but the hospitality is about how you make people feel. And that feeling is the one that is more powerful, where you can create a memorable experience. So I took that idea and I created on my YouTube channel 60-second videos, because then you can watch it on mobile phone. They call hashtag shorts, which describes the different steps of 5-star service mindset. And that mindset is not related to a top luxury hotel. It can be for any business, whether it's the souvenir shop or the tour guide or the guest house. That service mindset is same everywhere. And I think that's the more we talk about that is and also help the hotel students to look at the service from that point of view. They can also see in themselves that this is for me.
Correct. You know, when our first meeting at Betlehem University, I don't think Kevork was with us. Essentially, you know, we said we'd like to provide most of our hotels are 3-star hotels. Because of the pilgrims and the, you know, budgetary wise, the pilgrims are very much budget oriented. And we said openly and that we would like to provide a 6-star service in a 3-star hotel. Service with a smile, being hospitable to the clients and the pilgrims as they come. And hopefully we'll achieve it. And I think we have, with that mindset, with the leadership and the board that we have, I think they will all understand what is really needed to prepare those people to become exceptional hoteliers.
Very good. We are getting some comments here. Mahdi Kleibo says, why don't the Institute of Hotel Management and Tourism by default accept to enroll hotel management TAWJHI students as pure blood candidates with passion to work in the hospitality industry?
Well, we have. Yeah, I can answer this one. Yeah. I think we have. I tell you, we have requirements put by the university and by the Ministry of Education. We have to have a minimum of tawjih of 65 points that he has to score before we can accept him. Frankly speaking, I'm not really sure a 90% tawjihi, if he doesn't have what, like I say, the emotional intelligence is as qualified as somebody. Maybe, you know, he had problems in the family. Right now we have all this COVID and all these political problems that maybe some of the students just couldn't cut it in terms of sitting for the exam and doing it. We are trying something else ourselves. Hopefully also that we'll succeed, is that to train in situ, also to go into hotels and train the people who might not be as qualified because they had to go out of school and help their family financially. So we'd like to go into the hotels and train those students and maybe upgrade their skills to the level that they will be accepted, and their experience can be translated into what do you call it, credits at the university. And if they're interested of continuing, yes, they will have a place. And that is a point that we're very much aware of, because a lot of young people have to go out and work, and maybe they are qualified. They can be qualified.
Very good. I'm getting so many comments. I have to pop in another one here. Ihab Yaber said, the problem with the level and quality of service in Bethlehem hotels is the average room rate in Bethlehem. Hotels in Bethlehem wrongly compete between each other on who has the lowest rates.
I have to agree with him. The Bethlehem hotels are afraid. They think they have to compete against Jerusalem to be able to get their business directed to Bethlehem, because Bethlehem, we don't have as many. We don't have let's put it the way, the national government doesn't have the budgets to go ahead and market aggressively abroad. They don't have the budgets to go ahead and market aggressively, and they cannot even get to Tel Aviv and market. So they market between each other with price. And I told them, when you are half the price of Jerusalem, you have a long leeway that you can really upgrade your rates and agree between each other to upgrade your rates. You cannot do it suddenly, but you can upgrade them slowly and build them up. So you can pay higher salaries, better salaries to get more qualified students in there. You're able to, Kevork knows this. When the business stopped, those people didn't have a social net to protect them. They didn't have any employment. So there must be also policies from the government to build unemployment benefits for those people, because like Kevork said, every 8 years we have some issue. This is the worst, but we have either an intifada or a war. And those people must be carried between these areas in which we have no tourism. So a social net must be built up to help out, and that will, of course, increase the cost. And I would encourage it, and I would say very strongly to our national government that they really should consider it very much, and it will not affect their competitive edge. There's a lot of difference between the rates with Jerusalem and Bethlehem.
Very good. Abdullah Swaiti's question. We are living in extraordinary trying times as hotel management and tourism students. What golden advice do you have for us the graduates? I hope to hear from all of our guests, please.
Well, I think Kevork can answer this. We've been sending him some of our top graduates. He is our reference point to do internships. So I will leave it to Kevork to see what the efforts he's doing to help those people begin to realize their dream.
Yes, Kevork, so can you answer?
Well, yes, I think today the individuals are very much obliged, and the commitment to themselves should be to drive their own destiny. So that's the first thing I would like to say to every single student here, and of course to the gentleman who raised the question. So your destiny is something that you really need first to take ownership of and say, now I want to drive this. Now, once you have that done, being a graduate of a hotel school does not get you too far. I can tell you that. It can end right there, and you can go and work in a bank right after you graduate from the hotel school, and you will be a fantastic teller because you have hospitality-oriented behaviors and all that. But if you really want to continue the career, you need to drive yourself. In our heavy approach over the past multiple years, we were able to convince some of the graduates to take internship programs. And they did fly to different destinations where we operate our properties, and they went to great internships. Unfortunately, there are some factors that make people not come. So a lot of people dropped out after the whole process was set for them. And I think they drop out, they have their own reasons, but definitely they lost the opportunity. The ones who came, a lot of them were very successful. Actually, they proved to be fantastic talents. And I was personally struggling with the general managers of the hotels where they did their internship, where the GMs were asking me to convince them to stay because they were great people and they were fantastic hoteliers. But unfortunately, they decided to go back. And when we look at this in reality and in depth, we realize it's all about the financial aspect of being an intern and not being paid a figure that somebody believes he deserves to be paid. So that is now not driving destiny. Now that is giving up on your destiny and on your dreams just because of the financial aspect of it. So I think it's you guys. You need to drive yourself. International operators have their doors always open with their internship program. I'm not saying it's easy to get through, but if you have the opportunity to get through, grab it in the coming period and where we're going in the future. And while I touch base a little bit on losing jobs and people losing their jobs, we're expecting to see a drop in our manpower to run pre-COVID periods. So meaning occupancy at the level of pre-COVID. We expect to run same business with 25% manpower. This is what's going on. So actually 25% of the manpower that existed pre-COVID will lose their jobs. And the only thing that is doing in reality is it's not touching quality or performance or standards. It just got us as hoteliers to wake up and stop wasting resources and spending money in areas that are not delivering the output required for that particular asset in its location and its market. So actually challenge is becoming bigger. But remember, if 25% of the people in the industry are not going to go back to work in the industry, that means the 75% have bigger chance to fill bigger roles, take more responsibilities, and actually grow faster in their careers. So the layers are becoming shorter, smaller gaps. So this would be the biggest aspiration and the biggest driver for anybody who wants to go in the hospitality industry today. It's actually positive, it's not negative, it's just how you yourself are going to look at it. Now, also, Sam-Erik, I saw here a question or a point which was raised by gentleman Isa Dahdal. Now, Isa is saying, how do we retain our current staff? And how do we replace the ones we lost? Well, the ones we lost, unfortunately, we lost, and if we want to pick them back, it will only happen if we took care of them pre-COVID. So to answer your question of how to replace them, actually the first one is answering it, how to retain them. If we would have made the right efforts all the time with our people to keep them and make them loyal and make sure that we take care of them as much as they take care of our clients, they would understand. I had a lot of people who unfortunately were furloughed. And I had staff, and we talk about hundreds here, yeah, who actually embraced the decisions made by the company, and they said, no problem, we'll stay at home. We understand. We understand the situation. There were good days. You guys were good to us. We come back to operation. Everybody's coming back. It's like, honestly, you don't lose too many of the ones you took good care of. So for the future, take care of the ones you have. Work on them, not actually labeling them with the positions they have. Humans should never be labeled. We are not a product, as such. Every one of us is a certain brand, and we should not be labeled. If I'm a waiter, I should never be labeled as a waiter for life. If I am a human and an intelligent human being who can do more than a waiter. So today, those people who stayed with you, who are highly developed by you earlier, believe in them. Give them more responsibilities, stretch them. They will stretch, they will deliver. Believe me, you just, and this could help you cover the gap of what you lost. But if you label them and you go and hire just somebody with a job description and that's it, you have a challenge to go and replace them. I don't know where you're going to find the right talent now and train them from scratch.
Very good. It brings me just something that came to my mind now. Traditionally we asked people, well, what is your job? They said, well, I'm a roommate, or I'm a busboy, or I'm a bellboy. So we changed this. Said, no, you're not that. You are here to create experiences. That's all you are here to do. And everyone has a role here, and everyone from the general manager to everyone has a role, is to create experiences. And this opened up actually the mindset on a lot of staff that, yeah, it's true. Because then it's not only about making the bed and making the room clean and and it's put the sign clean ready, but there's something more than that. And that's also extending their spirit and how they approach the guest. They're saying hello to the person by name and all small things.
Well, let me give you something, an experience. If a person has in his heart the tourism industry, he's a service-oriented person, he will come back. In 2001, when we had the problem with when we had directly after 2001, Sharon went on the Dome of the Rock area, and boy, things went really crazy for a while, and all tourism stopped. I told the drivers, I brought them in, we have also a bus company, and I told the drivers, look here, take all your benefits right now, because I don't know how long this will last, because I don't want to have it under my hand, it might be spent. I just want to make sure that you all have it. You can buy a taxi, open a shop, do whatever you want to do, and hopefully I can hire you back after 1 week. Then I would see them on the streets, those guys, and they would tell me, Ma'allim, we can't do this business with taxi. We're not used to it. The tourism industry, we love to be with people, various people as they change. So I rehired them back. They came back, all of them, without blinking an eye. Even if they invested in taxis and they invested in shop, they came back. So I agree with Kevork. If you have it in your heart, if you are a service-oriented person and you love the hospitality industry, even if you have to find something in between, they will come back. If you just wait for the right person to come back, they will.
We just had a comment here from Mahdi Kleibo. As Mr. Hani mentioned, it all rotates around human capital with passion and supported with training to bring the best from within. So I'd like to move on just to maybe a final question for both of you. Could you share something personal that you might have learned about yourself during this pandemic? Open your heart for us.
I'll let Kevork.
Hani, you first.
So let's Kevork start on this one. I want to hear him first, and then maybe I can find you in mine.
Okay, Kevork.
Sure. No, actually, it's not about learning something new. I think I see it as a very serious reset. A reset of which is a global reset. It reset everything. And then if that is true, I thought, okay, fine, if this reset is applicable globally and it's going to do changes, what is it going to do to me as a reset? So can I reset myself? Is that possible? And I think at the early stages of the pandemic, I was able to have enough time and actually to be aware that I have to do that. I seriously gave a lot of thought about me, what is going to make me happy going further in life. Is happiness my priority, or are there other things that are my priority? Is my priority to earn another award? Is my priority and I try to list those and identify what are the top ones. And I realized that I was so passionate about the industry that I gave it all my heart. I gave it my life. Over and above the account of maybe my family and a lot of people who care for me far beyond what actually the industry cared for me about. So I think it just enlightened me a little bit more on what I missed and what I messed up with when it comes to taking care of my family, being closer to them. I realized that I could have done what I've done, and I could have been as successful without having to have the family not have me around all the time. So that's not the important part. I think the important part is the implementation of that. So today I'm driving my rest of my life in a different way. I already set new objectives and I'm driving those objectives in light of the finding it's never too late. I embrace my family more than ever. They have been great supporters. I resigned 18 times from my job in my career. So you can imagine that my kids did 9 schools by the time they graduated from high school. So they were always there for me. My wife was always there for me. And I can tell you, my owners, previous owners, I cherish them, I appreciate them, I respect them. I don't engage with them as I did when I used to work for them. My guests, many of them I lost contact with. They are gone out of my life. My salaries I spent, it's gone. The only thing that is always there for you is the family. So cherish it and take care of it is what I found out in COVID. COVID got this to be quite boldly in my face.
Thank you. How about you, Hani? How has this happened to you, dealt with you, for you?
I will sign off with exactly what Kevork said. Family, family, family. And I think we're both now grandparents, right? Kevork?
Yes, we are.
And that's been a very enjoyable part of our family orientation. And we would like to have them around and talk to them all the time. However, in between also, a person has to be positively engaged still. Even while you are focusing on the family and paying attention to our grandchildren and playing with them, I think you have to be positively engaged. And since I know the industry, I'm very much positively engaged in the industry itself. And with all the time I have on my hands, I'm also the chairman of the Betlehem Development Foundation. So under that umbrella, we're doing a lot of work. We're working with the World Bank on an economic project for the development of Bethlehem into visitor and tourism industry. I have done now upgrading of, because most of the time the people who coming to visit, they come to the Church of Nativity and they leave. But the cultural of Bethlehem, the rich history of Bethlehem, nobody pays attention except the church. So I took the guys from all over, the people who are nationally recognized guides from Haifa, Tiberias, Jerusalem, everywhere. And I gave them a 2 days intensive program about the culture of Bethlehem and then also the newest discoveries at the Church of Nativity. And they thought, all of them, and they are very well learned guys, and they all said, we didn't know this. We really didn't know this, and thank you very much. And we would like to have one more day. So obviously you have to enrich the quality of the product by training, by bringing the dimensions that they have not been aware of. The other one, like I said, we're doing this World Bank project. Hopefully we'll win the contract for it. And the third one that we are involved, like you say, we talked about, which is the Betlehem Reborn exhibition to take it out. So this keeps me positively engaged. I'm becoming a fantastic organic gardener. I have land around my home here in Beit Jala, and I am doing my bit to enhance I've been living in Italy for 10 years, so it needs a lot of upgrading and maintaining. So I'm becoming an exceptional gardener, but I'm doing everything else.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Hani and Kevork, for joining this discussion. It has been a very interesting discussion. I also like to thank all the viewers who have joined me. I'm very, very, very happy about the comments and questions. And my apologies, maybe there was some question I could not, I was able to read from this broadcast, but I think we got many of the pertinent. So I also like to thank everyone who has joined us for the 5 episodes we have had this autumn. So this will be the last. We will start on the next year again, January sometime, with the next episode about the hospitality insights. If you like to see the recorded version of this broadcast, you can find it in 2 areas. In fact, one is the living.training has the website. They will post it there, and also in my YouTube channel, Sam-Erik Ruttmann / the Social Hotelier. It will be posted there. It will stay there forever. So you're always welcome to come and join us there. And finally, I'd like to thank our partners, winning online course portal, Malta Hotel and Restaurant Association, Mediterranean Tourism Foundation, and Visit Malta, and the Ministry of Tourism for supporting this session. So may I, on behalf of my panel, wish all of you a festive season, a Merry Christmas, and a happier New Year 2021.
Inshallah.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.